Hi, a very good afternoon to you. It's Jim from maverickstar Observatory. Guys, as you know, it's the 17th of the month, and on the 17th we pull the data from the TriMag system that we've got here at the observatory here in the UK, and also we pop the SD card out, the magnetosphere data recording equipment. So we'll be looking at those first, and then we'll show you where the latest magnetic north pole is for this month. Before we do, very big thank you to those few that have been supporting us, and you know, we are getting closer and closer to that deadline, and I can imagine what a few of you will be doing now is just skipping straight to the meat of this video, which is a little bit uncourteous to do, especially when, you know, a lot of work goes into what we do here at the observatory in recording data, not just on the magnetic north pole but on a lot of other anomalies that are taking place. And you know, where some organisations feel it right to mislead people and misguide them with regards to actually what is driving the global climate change at the moment. But nevertheless, you know, if you could be just courteous to watch the whole video at least on the 17th of the month, and then possibly, you know, make a small contribution to the work that goes on, you know, things could change. We have got around about 1 month left, or just over a month, before we arrive at January. And as you know, over the last month or so we've been trying to clear up a £10,000 deficit, and I've got to say, all the efforts that I've tried to do till now have failed, and it is looking less likely that I will be able to do any more than what I have at this point. So it very much is in your hands now, and also God's hands, and let's just hope you know, that there is some guidance, and he encourages maybe a few of you guys to come forward with a bit of funding for this observatory, because we're just not going to be able to keep the service as we have done, largely free for the majority of the people that come, not just to our YouTube channel but also to the website. And just to give you an idea, there's something like 15,000 people that visit the website every week, and that donate button there gets largely overlooked. But we do live in a world where people do enjoy their things for free if they can get them, and the only problem is that you just can't physically survive in a monetary world without, you know, raising some capital. And you know, I've been for the last 10 years, and especially more so as we've became or evolved into an observatory over the last 4 years, found it, you know, not just you know, a requirement, but it's necessary. We can't afford to, you know, keep forking out £100 a time for, you know, a semiconductor that we use for building the muon detectors, which is a CPUM, or a silicon photo multiplier. You know, they come in at £118, I believe, each. So, you know, it's one of the dearest components on the muon detector PCB board, but we just can't afford to do that here all on our own. And it's only because a few like-minded people that have been following us for some time, you know, have funded us for us to enable building our own muon detectors. Because I don't know if you're aware, these things would come in at probably about over £7,000 or thereabouts. The TriMag system is well over £100,000, and we've got this equipment at our disposal, along with things like the Illuminox oxygen sensor, the CO2 atmospheric sensor, and other various pieces of equipment that we have in different countries. None of it would have been able to have come about if it weren't for a few generous people, you know, supporting us. So we are really at the last post here at the observatory, and like I say, it's going to have to be in God's hands, and even to some degree in yours, as to whether we keep the service going that we've managed to keep for this amount of time. And it would be an immensely great shame if we had to change, you know, what we do here at the observatory, and I'm sure that would affect a lot of people. And you know, I do understand there are some genuine reasons why people can't afford to contribute, but we do have now, as you may have noticed, just crept over the threshold of 32,000 people here at the observatory. So I just wanted to, before I got on with showing you the latest magnetic pole position for this month, just mention that there is a link there, and the support is needed more than ever now, and we are approaching a critical time where we ever get closer to that 40-degree mark. This is not the time to not fund what we do here, and we have a massive deficit. I know in terms of money, really, to some people it's nothing. £10,000 is absolutely nothing, but to a lot of us with nothing, it's everything, isn't it? So if I can encourage a few people just to make a little bit of an effort and help support what we do, maybe with the grace of God we can keep doing what we do. So onwards with the TriMag data that we've gathered over the last month. Again, over 300,000 readings nearly every 3 seconds. We collect a sample of the position of the magnetic North Pole and record it and process it in a chart format so that you can see, and really all you need to be concerned about is that it is getting now more so close to that 15 marker on the left hand column, and what that is an indication of is that it is moving easterly towards Siberia. And again, because we are now knocking on 13.8, which is getting closer to that 14 mark. If you go back into the archive of the data, you'll see we started and calibrated at 10, and it has gone now to nearly 14, 13.8. I've never seen a reading get that high before, and yet we are there seeing a few of those on the data at some of the samplings that we've taken over the month every 3 seconds. So the more we get around that figure, the closer we become to getting close to that 40-degree mark. So you can see over the month that it is still increasing, and therefore when we show you later on we'll be able to work out how many miles it has gained over the last month. I just want to go over to the magnetosphere data so you can see what's been happening above the observatory with regards to the magnetosphere. And here, as you can see, is the last recording data from the 25th of the 10th last month to the 17th of the 11th this month. So just under a month's worth of data we've gained. That's because we had to do a little bit of maintenance on the magnetosphere data last month. Not the data, but the equipment. Just wanted recalibrating, and we're going to be recalling some of the equipment that we've got in Australia soon for the very same thing, just to make sure that our equipment out in the field is optimally working as it should do and performing as it should do. So as you can see, there's been a 0.5 degree fluctuation throughout the month. The frequency increases and compresses, as you can see, towards the end of the readings, coming up close to the point where we are at today. But nevertheless, no significant changes in the magnetosphere strength, even though the sine wave towards the end does shrink and sometimes compresses the sine wave. It is still as we would expect it to be. When we start to see real big dramatic changes in there, then this is where our equipment comes into its own, and it shows us that there is something dramatically happening with the magnetosphere above the observatory, so above the UK. And we've got the similar equipment in Arizona, Canada and Australia, all doing the same, and we at that point get to see what is going on and whereabouts it's going on around the world. That's why we've got this. And don't forget, we want to get a few more of these magnetometers around to monitor the intensity of the magnetism above the region of where they're stored. So if we've got one in the future in Russia, I would presume that we would see an increase over time, like we're seeing a gradual but very slow decrease over Canada, and that's why we say it's an unstable region as far as the intensity of magnetism is over there, because we know it is dwindling, and that is why the magnetic North Pole began in the 1900s migrating across the northern hemisphere to central Russia, where we know it's heading at this moment. So no cause for alarms at the moment. The magnetosphere is stable. to some degree, even though we are going through a magnetic reversal. It has reduced by 20%, which is, which is something I suppose we should be paying attention to, because if we get a 20% reduction in the magnetosphere strength, then that is obviously going to allow more cosmic radiation inbound, which will affect the biodiversity on the planet, and also the cardiac rhythms of animal species on the planet, because it's not just like some people think, only going to affect human beings. I think sometimes we can be ignorant to the fact that there are other animals with hearts in their bodies, and if it can affect ours, then I'm sure it is likewise going to affect theirs as well. So let's have a look at where the magnetic North Pole is, and let's give you people that are following this channel with your own Google Earth and you want to pin those marks on your map, let's give you the longitude and latitude for that. So it should come as no surprise that we are still maintaining the current distance over the same amount of time as what we have been doing for the last 5 months, of 5.12 miles, just over 5 miles. For those that are following on their Google Earth maps and want the latitude and longitude, they are as followed, starting with the latitude: 82 degrees by 48 hours 27 minutes by 24 seconds north. The longitude is 120 by 14 hours 22 minutes 4 seconds east, and there, as you can see, we have a distance of 5.12 miles in the last month. Sorry, it's maintaining around a 20% increase as we've been watching. I just want to zoom out so you can get an idea as to where we are right now, and we are rapidly, as you can see as we zoom out, moving towards the central point of the North Atlantic Ridge, and you can see that we are ever more closer merging on the 40-degree mark, which is, as I've said many times, that theoretical mark based on some experiments that we've done. It should be the point where we start to see things progress. That is probably around about 12 around about 15 months off. Forget what exact calculation it was, so I broke it down to, but you can work it out yourselves. And yeah, we ain't far off. We've got probably less than 2 years before we reach that mark, and by then we will have absolutely or near enough covered that North Atlantic Ridge. I wanted to zoom out a little bit more so you can see where we're continuing in the direction of those corridors, which is the white and yellow line, and you can see where we are heading, which is somewhere central, just beneath the Arctic Circle, north of Russia, and I've marked it as the new magnetic North Pole because that's where the largest intensity, when we look on the intensity map over Russia, we can see that that is around that region there. So there we have it, guys. It hasn't slowed down, it's maintained its current speed and distance over that period of time of around 20%, which equates to around about 5.1 miles per month. And we're not sure whether that is because it's actually started to cross the North Atlantic Ridge, whether that is something that's influencing the speed or the increase, or whether it's the fact that we are now moving more close to the 40-degree mark. Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, is that when we do start to see it leave the strong field lines that it's in at the moment, and that's why it migrates very slowly, when we do see it enter those weak field lines, we can expect further weakening of the magnetosphere, which will in turn alter the climates more, I would say, rapidly at that point, if anything over the last 30 years is to go by. As a result of that, we'll also have a weakened magnetosphere, which will allow more cosmic radiation inbound through our atmosphere, and we could at that point see the beginnings of the major steps of the reversal take place. There you go, guys. I just want to end the video here by asking people to consider making a contribution to what we do. We are approaching a deadline of January, and I don't want to disrupt the service that we get. I hope that what we do here for people on the YouTube channel and on the website is of worth to you guys. And the only other thing to say is, have an amazing day, and look forward to meeting up again at some point over the weekend. Okay, as always, bye for now.